Happy Saturday. Dr. Pinesett here, and we are live action, spontaneous live this morning. As you guys know, I like to just, as things hit me, I like to bring it to you because I feel like the universe brings me what I need to teach you and educate you. And if you have, you must have been living on a rock if you have not yet heard about Katt Williams' interview um, with Shannon Sharp on Club Shay Shay because it is crazy. Hold on one second. Let me clean this up here. Okay, there we go. But Shannon Sharp's interview with Katt Williams is awesome. It's off the charts. It's great. It's phenomenal. And there were a lot of great lessons for pre-med. So that's what we're going to talk about today on today's live. So if you're excited, you can like this video right now. We're here as always that we got to be more productive, be more positive, and to fulfill your dreams and get into medical school. And I was so fortunate actually yesterday, before we get into this, one of my students, Isaiah, came and visited me at work and shadowed with me. And he came to hang out and essentially celebrate and capstone his pre-med journey because he just got accepted to one of the top medical schools in the country. And he started with me back 4 years ago and actually hated me when he started. And one of the reasons he hated me is because I preach accountability and holding yourself accountable. And I told him, hey, you're messing up. You need to be better. And at first it hurt him. But then he realized that he could get better. And I guess that's what we'll start with Katt Williams. And that one of the things he said that I thought was very fantastic was that so many people have all this potential. And he talks about how like he's this great comedian and everyone can be all these great things and can accomplish things. But so many people give away their power, give away their opportunities, and don't seize the day. And what I encourage all of you guys to do is to take accountability because we so often look for people to save us. But no one's going to save you. You got to save yourself. And in the case of Katt Williams, he told a story about how he only had $25,000 to his name, which seems like a lot of money, right? But he had $25,000 and he had just gotten it from doing something. And he wanted to do a comedy special, but no one was putting him on. Nobody was sponsoring his comedy special. And so out of his $25,000 he had, he took $22,000 of it and he funded his own comedy special. And I think that's amazing because it shows the accountability and the belief you guys have to succeed. And for so many of you guys as students, you're waiting for someone to give you a handout. You're waiting for someone to give you a hand up to create an opportunity, but opportunity does not come to you. You create opportunity by going out on a limb, by stretching yourself, by seeing what you can go for and what you can accomplish. And so it was so cool to hear somebody say that, like, listen, I wasn't going to wait around for someone to give me a special. I created my own special. And from that, now I have 19 specials. And I have all these specials on Netflix, and I'm getting paid 8 figures a special. But it started from me believing in myself, investing in myself, saying no one else is going to give me the opportunity. I got to take this opportunity. So for you guys as pre-meds, I know early in my career it felt weird because as a first generation pre-med, right, and as a student of color, I didn't have a lot of people that I could go to and to ask for help and to ask for resources to get ahead as a pre-med and get into medical school. And so what did I have to do, guys? I had to step up for myself. I had to educate myself. I had to go out to everything. And one of the coolest things someone told me one time, a Kika friend, who was a mentor back early in my early career, hello, McQueen, right, is that she told me, she's like, listen, you see a line somewhere. A lot of people see a line like, oh, I don't want to wait, and they walk past that line. But if you see a line for education, a line for opportunity, and you aren't the 100 million person in that line, then you're silly. Because if there's a line, that means there's something desirable there, and you got to go get it. And so it was something I took to heart. And so for me, one of the great opportunities I created was I actually used to just walk around campus because I realized I was undereducated. I wanted to get more educated, more connected. And so I used to walk around UC Irvine, home of the ferocious anteaters, zot, zot, zot. But I used to walk around campus and just look for things to stumble into. And one of the things I stumbled into was actually an engineering department, like symposium. And they were talking about all the different research projects and different stuff. And some of the things they were talking about sounded so cool. And one project in particular was this mini Rubik's Cube sized satellite. And this physics and engineering lab was putting together, aerospace engineering lab was doing this research. I was like, this is amazing. I don't know anything about that, but I want to be involved in that. And so I actually approached the PI and I said, listen, I'm a future physician. I'm hoping to go to medical school. I have no engineering background, but what you guys are talking about is so amazing. I'd love to be a part of it. And he kind of laughed at me and was like, this undergrad who doesn't have any engineering experience wants to be in our lab, but he appreciated the effort. And he actually brought me into his lab and brought me along super slowly, allowed me to learn the lab. I got to be around cool engineers who were talking about sharp stuff. And it ended up blossoming into a lifelong mentorship I still have with this PI. And it ended up being an incredible just learning opportunity. I published nothing out of that lab. But just to be around these people every week in lab meetings and hear them talk was amazing. And he wrote me this stellar letter of recommendation for medical school and actually helped me out even through medical school. And so it was just this fortuitous thing where I said, listen, I'm going to create this opportunity. I see something I want to do, and I'm going to go for it. And so I hope that you guys can go for that, and you guys can get there. Exactly like Michael said, we're lasers. Good morning, Laya. Right? We are live action. If you guys don't know, I'm Dr. Pinesett. Like this video right now. Let me know you see me here on my morning when my kids are playing downstairs. My brother's in town. They're hanging out down there. So you may hear screams. You may hear crying. We don't know what we're going to get because it's Saturday morning. My kids are fired up and ready for the day to hang out with my brother, my fun uncle brother. So they're having a good time. But does that make sense, everybody? We got to go for our goals, right? The second thing that I really like that he said, if you guys have not watched the interview, we're talking about Katt Williams on Shannon Sharp's show, Club Shay Shay. The show itself in general is pretty good. I listen to Shannon Sharp regularly, but it was particularly good with Katt Williams because he was someone who was speaking truth, and he was speaking from a place of deep consciousness. And I guess that's the next place we can go for, is that he spoke a lot of things that were very taboo during the interview. And he said a lot of things that people might say are harsh about other people. But one of the things that I really, really enjoyed about the interview was that he could speak his truth. And in this world, one of the best feelings in the entire world is a sense of freedom and a sense of being free enough to speak your truth. And for many of us, as you guys go through the pre-med process, you're taught to be subservient and to give of yourself for others. And we lose our own identity sometimes. And we lose the fact that it is our life and we get to choose how we live it. And what I would encourage you guys to do, we hear a lot of people out here say, hey, fake it till you make it. Just pretend to do these things. And don't ever do that, guys. Don't be a fraud, right? We got enough frauds out in this world, in the social media planet, right? And I did a video about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, where I talked about fake it till you make it is dead. But this video kind of brought that back to life, is that it's the opposite of that. So, right, fake it till you make it sucks. But living a life of truth and honesty and integrity, there's no better feeling in the world. And Katt Williams talked about how he can go on there and speak his truth because he's just speaking true. He's just living his life, trying to be his best self every single day. And I respect that about him. Whether it's true or not, I respect the sentiment of it. And I saw in that moment myself, in that people can say whatever they want to say about me, right? You guys know on the internet they bash me left and right. But I can always stand my ground and stand confident, recognizing I'm speaking the truth. I'm coming from a place of a good-hearted, kind nature. I actually care about my students. I actually want to see my students succeed. And like I said, I had my student yesterday come, Isaiah, who just got into his one of the top medical schools in the country, and he's very excited. He's been with me for 4 years, and he talked about how he hated me at first. And what was amazing was I was like, man, that's exactly the reaction I want. I want, when I say something, I want to poke at you. I want you to feel something. I want you to feel the need to change, to be different, to be more, because we all have such great potential that we're not fulfilling. And so I want to see every student fulfill that potential. And so he said I fired him up, and then he went through 5 of my courses and got educated on everything, and then got a 3.91 GPA the rest of his career, and now he's into medical school. And so we were sitting there talking yesterday, and we were talking about the fact that, man, hearing that truth was hard. But it was a truth I needed to hear because I recognized that I was going through undergrad. I had spent my entire undergrad. At that time, I was a senior when I came to that presentation. So he spent the last 4 years working after undergrad to get into medical school. He's like, I recognized that I was partying, that I was posing, hanging out, doing all these things that didn't really mean anything to nothing. And what you told me that day was, listen, if you want to make an impact, if you want to be something, man, this life is so rewarding if you can be your best. And so when you called me out, I realized I was hurt because you were telling me the hard truth that I wasn't living my truth, that I wasn't making my priority, becoming a doctor, the real priority. And I was living based off superficial, short-lived, other people's priorities. And as a result, I had to realign myself and get back focused. And once I did that, then it made it easy to make the difficult decisions, to focus on my career, to put the extra time in, to show up to class, to do the thing you do to be successful, and then bam, you're into medical school. And so what I would encourage all of you guys to do, right? And one of the things he did as an initiative was that he started a mentorship program, Homies Inc. And he gave me his card. Let's see if I got it here. Right, and he gave me his card, Homies Inc. And I was like, this is so awesome that he's put this together because he recognized that I made an impact in his life and made a difference for him, and he wanted to be that voice of truth for other people. And so what I encourage all of you guys to do is, one, live your truth, live your life, recognize what matters to you, and make that the top value, not what other people say is important. The second thing is live a life of integrity and kindness, right? And warm-heartedness. Give of yourself to others genuinely, not for the reward, not for the accolades, not to have people shout from the rooftops, right? Like I had him shout out yesterday. You don't see any pictures, right? It's not about that for me. For me, it's about having students succeed. And that's what you guys should be doing, is doing things out of the genuine nature of your heart to help people, to give of people. And if you can do that, medical schools will see that. They'll see your true heart and how it really means something to you to volunteer, or it means something to you to serve a certain community. And then it won't be a question of, is this person a box checker or not? They'll see your soul, your heart, and your true nature in that moment. So live your truth, guys. Be a person of significance and impact and positivity. Uplift others. We got too much negativity out here in the world. Okay? The next thing that I like that he said was, he was talking about how when he talks to certain people that are living a life that he thinks they shouldn't be living, one of the things he says to them is, this life doesn't look like you. And I love that. And it kind of pivots off what we're talking about, this truth that we're bringing to ourselves. Is how many of you guys look in the mirror and you look at yourself and you say, man, my life ain't what I need it to be, ain't what I want it to be. I'm not on a pathway to get where I need to go, right? I'm not on track to become the doctor I dream of and aspire to be. How many of you guys feel that way? I'll wait, I'm live. We're live action, y'all. Comment, let me see it. Laya, I see you on here. Thank you for commenting. How many of you guys, you look at it and you don't like what you see in your life? Your life isn't what you want it to be. You're not taking the action you need to take to be successful. Let's be truthful. Thank you, Joel. I appreciate you saying I do, right? It's so important that we can have these honest conversations with ourselves and say, you know what? I don't like how things are going. And the line he used was, this life don't even look like you. How many of you guys look at your life and you look at it like, that ain't me? It's incumbent on you to fix it. It's incumbent on you to be so sick of looking in that mirror at that person you see that you don't even recognize it. And again, the universe brings everything together. So I'm with this student, and he's like, yeah, when you told me all that stuff, like it was made me mad, made me angry, but now it's funny when I applied to medical school and I was putting my application together, and AMCAS makes you enter all your grades, right? The AAC makes you enter all your grades manually. And he's like, I'm going through my transcript and I'm entering my undergrad grades, and instant shame hits me. And then I get to my graduate grades and I'm like, yes. And I'm embarrassed of who I used to be. I said that wasn't even me. This is the actual me. And what I would encourage you guys to do and take from this, what I mean to say this, is when you look at the past, you recognize that doesn't look like you, because it doesn't have to be you. That isn't your truest nature. You have the opportunity every single day, every single week, to change your patterns, to change your behavior, to be an entirely different and better human being. Right now in this moment, you can choose, right? It happens in relationships. If you're being a jerk and doing the wrong thing, you can choose in a moment to stop being the jerk and be better and be kinder, to change your words and what you say. You get to choose, and you can make your life a life that you love and that you appreciate. And that's what he was saying now. He's like, man, when I got that call, and it was eerily similar to my admission call to Stanford, where he was on the 405, right? And in Southern California, we got the 405 freeway and the 5 freeway. The 405 freeway was on the 405, and he got the call, and he just started crying. And he's like, I don't even know why I was crying. I'm like, I know why you were crying, because I was crying when I got mine. Because it was all these years of tension, of hard work, of doing everything you can. And it was the confirmation that, man, I am that greatness. I am capable. I am acceptable to medical schools. And so what I want all you guys to recognize is that all of you guys are capable of getting into medical school and being great and being phenomenal doctors, no matter where you came from, no matter what you've been through. But many of you may not be on the right track to get there. And it's imperative that you make the change and you say, I'm sick to my gosh darn core of who I used to be. And now I must. It is a requirement that I be different and be better, and that I make this goal happen. And then you action it and you do it, and you don't just start. Because a lot of people start day one, right? It's early January. Day one, New Year resolution. I'm not talking about day one. I'm talking about day 100. You got to be on the grind, guys, and you got to get there. And what you'll find is that once you start succeeding and you start becoming a person that you love, a hardworking, determined, focused person, you start to love the work, because the work defines you. I love to work. I love to be a hard worker. I take pride. People say, "Oh, you're a very boastful person." Yes, I boast all the time. But you know what I boast about? Is my work ethic. I boast about my success because my success is my work ethic. I take pride in the fact that I'm willing to work as hard as I need to be successful. I'm willing to be the person who shows up early and stays late. And I recognize that work, I can take pride in that because so few people are willing to do the work. Everyone wants easy street. So if you're one of the few who's willing to do the work, there's a pride in that you're a top 1%er because you're working hard. And then what you'll find is when you put that hard work in at the end of that, the success comes. And that success, y'all, is better than any drug out there. When you succeed at a high level, we were talking yesterday, I was like, it feels like you got a cheat code. When you go into a class and you're, I'm so prepared for this test, it feels like you're above it all. It feels like it can't even impact you because you're so prepared. You've done so much. And that high of being the best and feeling over prepared is addictive and it becomes something. So if you don't like who you used to be, change it. Make the change. Yep, exactly. Time sacrifice, it pays off. Pays off. Ali says, hey, thank you for the education on this matter. I'm 34 years old, working for 3 years as a nurse here. I decided to go for the MD route. Now only 1 year to complete the prerequisites. Focused 100%. I love it. Right? We make a pivot. And I'm going to do a video coming up on that switch. I'm going to update that. Switch from nursing to medicine because a lot of nurses now want to switch and change. And there's an opportunity there, but you got to do it right. And so I appreciate you, Ali, and I salute you for saying, I'm going to do the work. I'm going to focus. I've been working as a nurse, but I'm ready to make that change and I'm giving it my all. I'm laser focused. I'm going to put the work in, be a 1%er and get over that hump and get into medical school. So upfront, congratulations for putting that work in. The next thing he said, there was so much good stuff in this talk. Probably have to split this live into 2 lives. But if you guys are still with me, you guys still having some fun with me right now, like this video, comment, let me know I'm not here alone on my Saturday morning. Say, hey, Dr. Pinesett, I appreciate you being away from the kids right now to bring us a message in a time when you're inspired and want to teach us something. Another thing was we talk about hard work that I respected about the interview was that Katt Williams said, when I was first coming up, I was broke. I didn't have anything. And I felt I was funny, but I recognized I wasn't as successful as I wanted to be as a comedian. And so he said, I sat down. This is, I encourage you guys all to do this. He sat down and he said, listen, I want to be the best comedian. I'm clearly not because they ain't paying me, right? And so he made a list of 300 comedians that he felt were more successful than him. And from those 300 comedians, he watched each of their specials or each of their routines 10 times a piece. And it may not be the exact numbers, but he said he took all that and he studied it and he took detailed notes about how they were getting laughs and how they were getting different altered laughs at different places and how you could modify things and the commonalities and the patterns of what made a successful comedian. And then he took all that and then he patterned himself out of all the most successful ingredients of these comedians. And when he said that, I had to sit back. I was like, oh my gosh, that's what I've been trying to tell you guys. I should not have been a successful college student. I should not have been able to get into medical school. But I did. I became, right, the top 1.7% of applicants who get into Stanford Medical School. I became that. And then from Stanford Medical School, I got into one of the top anesthesia programs in the country, right? And then after that, right, I haven't applied for a job ever, but I still be getting job offers. Why? Because I'm an excellent anesthesiologist, right? How does that happen? How do you rise to the top like that? It's because I said to myself, when my counselor told me that I wasn't on track to graduate, that she thought I was going to flunk out of college, that I would never get to medical school, when she told me that, I had an option. I could quit or I could get better. How do we get better? We study those that are better than us. And to do that, it's a big step because for a lot of us, we have this whole pride of, oh, I can't let people see me struggle. We have this whole pride of, I can't admit that I'm not the best, that other people are better than me, that other people know more than me, right? I can't ask for help. And one of the crucial things, I'll never forget it, guys. I'll never forget it. When my counselor told me that I would never get into medical school, right? You get bad news like this, right? So what do? You call the ones you love, right? You call after a tragedy happens, you call them. Can I sip some water? You guys like this video right now. So you call the ones you love when this tragedy strikes. And so I'm told, like, oh my gosh, my med school future is over, and I'm doubting myself in this moment. And it was so amazing. I I get emotional right now just even thinking about it. But I was in my dorm, and I called my mom, and I was like, "Hey, Mom, oh, you won't believe this. I won't be able to get into medical school. It's like this terrible tragedy." And my mom was like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "Listen, like I'm not a good student. It's just impossible for me to get the A's, and I need the A's to get into medical school." And she was like, "Well, it can't be impossible because other students are getting A's. Why don't you go ask them what they're doing, and then do what they're doing?" And at first I was mad about it, right? And my mom actually ended the conversation. She was at work, right? Because my parents are working people. And so she hung the phone up on me. She said, "I gotta work." And I was freaking mad. If she hadn't hung the phone up, I probably would have hung the phone up, right? I was mad. But I was like, after, as it like set in, I was like, gosh darn it, she's exactly right. Here I am, right? This 18-year-old in college. I'm trying to be Joe Cool, right? I'm trying to wear my nice clothes to class. I'm trying to always act like I know everything, right? I'm too cool to pay attention. Oh, I don't be studying. Oh, I'm here and there. I'm trying to be all these things instead of being what I really want to be, which is excellent. Instead of trying to look like I belong, I need to actually make sure I do belong. And so what I did was I literally, not exaggerating, not joking, not nothing, I went to these high-performing students. And it was easy to find because they're the students who were at office hours, right? So I started going to office hours, and at first I didn't even ask questions. I literally just sat back like a stalker, like that show You, that my wife Shannon tried to have me watch. I turned that crap off after 2 episodes because I was like, this is ridiculous. We're promoting this stalker stuff. But I was that stalker. I would go sit in office hours, and I would literally just watch and study. And I would listen about the things they were talking about, what way they were talking about this material, and what was going to be on the test, and then how they were getting explanations, and in the intelligence of their questions, how even their questions were better than the questions I was asking. And so I would listen to all these, and I would study them. And then I actually started approaching them. Hey, listen, I'm struggling in this class. I'm in danger of failing. I see you're getting a really good grade. Is there any way you could give me some pointers, some strategies of how you go about things? And so I started taking all these little pieces, not from one student, not from 2 students, from all the students, from all my different classes. I said, oh, you do this? Okay, you do this. Okay, well, this person says notes this way, this person says notes this way. Okay, well, then what's the best of both those note systems? Okay, boom. And then I'm gonna do some research on note taking, and I'm gonna elevate that. And I'm gonna bring all these things together, and through all this crowdsourcing of all this information, right, between research articles, between talking to students, between trial and error and practicing things and seeing what worked for me, what was amazing was the output from that was a complete system that allowed me to not only do well in my classes and get the A's, which was what I was hoping for, but something even better came out of it. Because I had crowdsourced all the best stuff, not only was I able to get the A's, but I was able to get the A's without the stress. The A's, right, I was certain, I knew how to exactly get to the high yield material. I was able to get the A's with less time spent studying because I knew what was going to be in the test. So I didn't have to study all this useless stuff. I was able to get at it. I knew how to break down materials, and I had so much great information. So I could take it to classes. The classes didn't stand a chance. They were a victim. I was victimizing the test. I was victimizing these classes. I was victimizing the curve. Right? You guys see my shirt, MCAT Murderer. I mean that. I look at tests as an obstacle in my way. They are the dragon that is keeping me from my princess in the tower. I must slay that dragon to get my spoils, my riches, all the gold of the land. And so I literally go out there and I attempt to destroy exams, and I was able to do it by doing all this. And so as I say this, I say Katt Williams, because he's 300 comedians, and I say, I went all these students, how many of you guys are really doing the work to figure out what success is in your desired field? How many of you guys are actually going in depth, not sitting on Reddit, not sitting on SDN? How many of you guys are really getting out there and talking to real experts about your dreams? How many of you are fully well versed in what it takes to be successful as a pre-med, as a student, as a medical student, as a doctor? Are you doing the work? Are you doing that hard work of watching the people more successful than you, or are you pretending to be successful? That's what it takes, right? That's what it takes. For me, I took all of that stuff, right? Because I said I wanted to help students. And I put everything there is to know about studying. And I chiseled away all the fat, all the gristle. And I have a lean, mean 6-pack of a course, the 5 pillars of studying less and getting better grades, that literally gives you a complete, wrap yourself in a cocoon of warmth and excellence study system to help you be incredible. For my students who are on here right now, if you're watching this, if you're one of my students and you are in 5 pillars and you benefit from 5 pillars, comment in the box and let people know how legit 5 pillars is, how 5 pillars elevates you and allows you to be a laser focused student, so that not only are you getting the A's, but you're getting them in less time. And by getting them in less time and with less stress, you're able to enjoy your student journey. You're able to enjoy outside the classroom with your friends and your family and so forth. And it creates this rich life that we all want, right? This abundance of joy and happiness and opportunity in our life. So that's what I have to say about that. Are we all still good? Should I end here? We're at 25 minutes. Can we keep going or should we stop? I can keep going, but we can stop if you guys are burnt. Let me know. We are live action. I'll sip some water while we sit here. And Damien, I like that comment there. A lot of nurses on here. Okay, all right, nice. Damien says, a common mistake during med student interviews is applicants think hard work equals volume and expect more is better, and that's incorrect. Applicants must express meaningful growth that truly speaks volumes, and I love that. I love that. So many people neglect that aspect of it, is that I won't say none because I reject like full statements like all or none, but I would say none of us are born excellent. In that the people who become excellent, the people who are excellent, the succeeders you see, yes, maybe they had some advantages. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they were disadvantaged like me. But they grew through their experiences. They seized every opportunity and experience to enrich themselves and to grow and to get better. And as a result, they become excellent. Right? They let the vines blossom, the vines of excellence, and they climb to the sky. And for me, again, the reason I'm so proud of my accomplishments, the reason I can smile every day and I can be proud of myself is because I know just how far I climbed. I know that I grew into my excellence. And a lot of people make the mistake of being not confident in their application because they feel like there's some hiccups. There's some mistakes, some missteps, some failures in their track record. And instead of looking at those hiccups as moments of learning, opportunities where they grew, they look at it as red flags, and med schools are going to poo-poo on that. And that's not the case. Med schools don't need you to be perfect. What they need you to be is a current excellent applicant. Someone who has grown from their failures, from their mistakes. So as you guys write your applications, and there's maybe some hiccups, some errors, write from a place of confidence, knowing that what did I learn from that opportunity? When I failed that class, man, when people ask me on the interview, I think I only got asked like once about my failure, like on my transcript. They're like, hey, have you ever like had some academic struggles? I'm like, yeah, I had some mighty academic struggles. I actually failed the class. I was in danger of flunking out of college. And then, right, you see their eyes like, oh my gosh, like this. But then I made them understand, hey, it's all right. That was everything I needed. And it's actually the best of times. It may sound like the worst of times. It's the best thing that ever happened to me because it showed me before it was too late the dangers of being lackadaisical, the dangers of resting on mediocrity, the dangers of not striving to be more and to be better, and the dangers of not giving my all to something that is my all, my everything to become a doctor. And because it showed me what could happen, how quickly my whole dreams could be swiped away from me because of my lack of focus, it made me a person who is laser focused. And I said to them, as I sit with you here now in this interview, as dead eyes I'm looking at you right now, that's how I look at my aspirations as a physician and what I must do as a clinician, as an educator, as a mentor. That's how I look at it. I'm that laser focused in everything. And I know I can accomplish whatever I want in this life because I know once I put my mind to something, it's over. I've already won. There is no battle. It's already won. You surrender. And when you talk like that from that place of confidence, people aren't used to hearing that confidence. Doesn't matter what you've done in your past. And so what I encourage all you guys to do is recognize that. Take pride in the fact that, hey, I struggle. It's all right. That struggle doesn't define me. That struggle elevates me. That struggle amplifies me. It allows me to be a better person, the person I am today here in front of you from that failure. If you never had failure, you can't be bitter. And actually, there's a quote. I don't think I even wrote it down. But one of the things that Katt Williams said in the interview was, he was like, yeah, Shannon asked him, have you ever been booed as a comedian? And he said, yeah, I've been booed. And he's like, how'd you feel about that? I'm like, he's like, shoot, it was great. Because I realized that wasn't the right joke. And he's like, more comedians need to be booed. More people need to experience failure, letdown. More people need to experience some negativity to allow them to shape and to grow and to cultivate something better. And if you don't ever get that feedback, if you don't ever have a stumble, how can we get better? That means you're not pushing yourself, baby. It's like MCAT studying. If you aren't missing questions, that means you aren't doing questions that you are unfamiliar with, so you aren't growing your fund of knowledge. Therefore, you are not going to be a well-rounded MCAT test taker. We must miss questions in order to make questions on the test. Okay? Ashley, you're welcome for that change in perspective. Yes, Laya said, planning to purchase your full plan soon. I love it. If you guys are interested in a course from me, send me an email. I'll give you a discount today. I love giving discounts to students because I love giving opportunities to students. Right? I'm here out of the goodness of my heart. If you guys don't know yet, I haven't announced on social media. My students know. I'm announcing a scholarship program. We're going to be giving away tons of money every single month to students to help you guys support your journey. So if you want a discount on a course, email me and I'll hook you up. I'll give you that discount because I want you to have what you need to make your dreams a reality, y'all. All right, are we all still together? There's another great story he told that resonated with me. And if you guys don't know, we're talking about Katt Williams. Well, let me reset the video. I'm Dr. Pinesett. I'm the Premed productivity expert, and I'm here with you live action. And we are talking about lessons from Katt Williams' interview with Shannon Sharp that he did this week. And it's basically a big spitball of amazingness and great learning opportunities. So I appreciate all you guys who are joining me here right now. One of the stories he told was when Katt Williams got hired for Friday After Next. And that was like his big breakout role where a lot of us met. Oh, thank you, Zoomer. My email is Andre, Andre, at premedproductivity.com. Andre at premedproductivity.com. You can send me an email. Julian, send me an email and we can get your access straightened out because, I know you have access to that. So you're all good. So anyway, one of the stories he told was that he was going for Friday After Next, right? Which is Money Mike, right? He played that pimp role and was one of the big breakout roles of his career. It's how I learned about Katt Williams. And Shannon Sharp asked him, he said, listen, were you homeless when it came time for Friday After Next? And Katt Williams paused and he was like, he did like kind of like a head nod. That's interesting. And what he proceeded to explain was that he had a young son at that time. And he didn't have a lot of money. And he had a chain on his neck. And his son, he was holding his young son up. And his son was playing with the chain. And then dropped the chain. And it popped his front teeth out. And then in addition to having his front teeth popped out, he had some bone issues and so forth. And so they told him it was going to be like tens of thousands of dollars to get this dental work. And so he was like, the only check I got coming in is for this movie Friday After Next. And so he gave up his apartment. And he was actually living in his trailer for the movie Friday After Next. And he said it's because he knew that by doing this movie, he was going to create opportunities. And so he couldn't pass up on that opportunity. And he would do whatever was required to take advantage of that opportunity. And he talked about how he used to hold, it was his first movie. And so he would hold they would have like the readings with all the actors, but then he would hold readings for all the other first movie actors like Terry Crews and some other people. They would all come to his trailer and they would meet and they would go over their lines so that they could be sharp and be their best. And he says it shows in the final product of how good that movie was that we were working so hard together to get the job done. And I love that story because for many of us, right, we see the glitz and the glam and we see these actors and actresses out here. And you guys saw Taraji P. Henson this week talking about how she hasn't been getting paid, all those kind of things. It was wonderful to shine a light on the fact that in order, some of us, and I forget the exact quote my dad used to use, but he's like the something about basically like the storm is darkest right before the light or something like that. It was something along those lines. I can't remember exactly. But the whole point is for many of us, and that's why I tell students that any student can get into medical school, as long as you don't quit and you continue to get better. And this story kind of highlights that in the sense that for many of us, the students who don't get there are the students who quit when it gets the hardest. But often that hardest is the opportunity, that's the kick in the butt, the redirect you need to level up and get to your goal. And so for me, right, I was told that I would never get into medical school. My counselor tells me this, and I had the opportunity to quit and switch majors and go to African American studies. I was like, no, I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to get it done. And from that dark moment, my greatness emerged, right? The rose from the concrete, right, grew out of that dark moment. And so it was cool because it's like, man, for many of us, it paralleled with me when I was studying for my MCAT, right? My MCAT studying wasn't going that great. I wasn't focused. I was working at that time, doing some consulting stuff. And so I was busy and I was obsessed with that short-term money to keep myself afloat, right? Because I come from a background where I didn't have a lot of money. So I was like, I need this money to keep my apartment, to keep things going. And then I recognized it was affecting my MCAT study. But I saw this MCAT as this life-changing opportunity for me, that if I could just get this MCAT done and get into medical school, it's going to change my entire life, it's going to change my children's lives, it's going to change everybody's lives, change everything. And so I saw the MCAT as this huge opportunity, and so I sacrificed for it. I quit my job, and then I moved in with my now wife, Shannon, and we moved to this place that was literally like the projects. It was awful. It was terrible. We lived out of an alley. And at one point where we were living there, the whole place flooded, and then we had like no walls for the first 2 feet of our apartment. But while I'm studying for the MCAT, I'll never forget it. It was a night. I'm sitting there and I'm studying for the MCAT. It's late night, and I'm like, man, I need a little break. I want to make some cheesy nachos in the microwave. So right, get my chips, put my chips on the plate, get the cheese, put the cheese on there, pop it in the microwave to melt it, and then right, you can't walk away from those. It's just too delicious, right? So you want to watch that cheese bubble and get all hot, right? So I'm watching the cheese, like, ooh yeah. And all of a sudden, there's all this like weird, like sparky sounds coming from the microwave, and there's like a flutter of like shimmeriness in the window of the microwave. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? So I stopped the microwave. And when I stop the microwave and the door pops open, all of a sudden, all these roaches, baby roaches, that's what the shimmering was, these white roaches, come running out of the microwave. Apparently they were nesting in this microwave. And these roaches are everywhere now. Like, oh my gosh, I couldn't even eat the nachos and blah, blah. And I just went back and I sat down. We had this like little cheap brown wooden table. And I sat down at this table in this little rinky-dink freaking kitchen with this microwave full of roaches. I sat down and I just took like one of those. I just, like I'm already like, this MCAT prep is freaking killing me. And I don't have any money and I'm sitting in this apartment and now I got roaches and like one thing I don't deal with is bugs. And so all this is happening. It's like 11 o'clock at night. I'm just like sitting there and I'm just like slumped. And I'm like, gosh, dang it. And I was like, I can't study anymore. And I went to sleep. Went upstairs, went to sleep. I'm like, oh my God, I can't be in this kitchen. And the next day I remember I came downstairs, took that microwave, I threw it out in the dumpster, and then I went right back to studying for this MCAT. And I fast forward a couple months, got my 95th percentile MCAT score. I took that MCAT score, applied to medical school shortly thereafter, and then I got into Stanford Medical School and every other school I interviewed at. And it was just like parallel with this Katt Williams story is that for so many of us guys, we like to be successful, it takes a lot of sacrifice. And if you have big dreams and big goals, you're going to have to sacrifice a lot of things. And for me, I sacrificed a whole bunch throughout my career. But that moment was like a sentinel moment of like, does this really mean enough to you to really give it everything and to sacrifice and to sit here with roaches and in a flooded, mildewed, we had black mold. Eventually we found out black mold in this apartment, like all this stuff. Does it mean enough to you to sacrifice all that stuff to create your future and your dream? And that's what I ask students. I'm like, man, I know everybody out here is suffering. I know it, right? Like Chappelle says, you suffer, I suffer, we all suffer. Are you willing to suffer through it to create your future? What does this 3 months of focused MCAT prep time mean to you? How would it change your life if you actually got the job done? How would your 4 years of undergrad, if you worked hard and got the grades you needed to get to medical school, how would it change your life? How would it change your life? Right? How would it alter and evolve your life? And I think that's what we have to look at and keep things in perspective and recognize there's a lot to be sad about. But if you're using that sadness and that struggle to create a brighter future, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's an opportunity. I have so much more to get to. I wrote this. I was driving my car, so I wrote this stuff on an envelope for you guys. But maybe we'll stop there because I still got that, and I got another envelope here. So maybe we'll stop there because we're at 40 minutes, and we'll pick this up in a couple days. Is that okay? Did everybody learn today? Did everybody get something from this live stream? Do we feel good? Do we feel great? Do we feel outstanding? I feel outstanding. I feel great this morning. I feel good. I feel like when you get up and you have a productive day, oh man, like when you start that morning productively, it changes the whole outlook of the whole day. And this morning to get up here and give you guys what I think is a wonderful message and so many lessons from this interview makes me feel good. It's gonna make me have more fun today. My kids are about to go to a trampoline park right now. I'm about to blow my ACL out jumping on, go jump on some trampolines, blow my knee out. But I appreciate you guys who joined me this morning. I hope that if this is your first time joining me, you'll take a second, right? I'm live on YouTube all the time. Take a second. Like this video. Take a second. Subscribe to my channel and then toggle the little bell so you always get notified whenever I'm live. It'll hit you up like, hey, Dr. Pinesett's live. Give it a message that you might need. You don't know. Okay? I'm at Premed Productivity across social media. My website is premedproductivity.com. Go get into a course, y'all. Go get educated. And if you want a discount, like I said earlier, send me an email. It's Andre, A-N-D-R-E, at premedproductivity.com. You send me an email. I'll send you a discount. No questions asked. And we're in business. And then you're getting better and getting to your stuff. No, I'm not going to SUMA in February. And that's a whole nother... I was having this conversation. So funny enough, the student Isaiah, who who came to Shadow yesterday, black male from South Central. And he actually met me at the last conference I ever did for AMEC. It was the AMEC conference. I was giving a workshop, and the title of the workshop was How to Survive as a Chocolate Chip in a Giant Sea of Milk. And I gave this presentation, and that was the last presentation I ever gave for one of these conferences. So no, I'm not. I do all now. I don't do really any conferences. I do all private events. So schools bring me in. I had a couple med school events at the end of the year, and then now I have a couple more med school events. I have like 8 hours of lecturing coming up here in the next month. For med school students. And so I have a lot of private events where people bring me in, pay me to train them up in whether it's medical students, undergrad students, and so forth. So no, I will not be at SUMA in February. Don't look for me. I won't be there. But I'm here every week bringing you guys great stuff. And I'm here every week for sure on my website coaching my students. Like we had TPT coaching this week for pre-meds, and then this upcoming week we got MCAT coaching for my MCAT students. So if you're on my MCAT course, not only do you get the course, it's awesome, it's amazing, power-packed, and it's super cheap, super affordable. But you also get to meet with me on a regular basis where we do high-level MCAT stuff and we troubleshoot. Hey, what are your issues? Let's look at your schedule. Oh, let's break down these passages. And we broke down a passage a couple weeks ago, and we had so much fun doing it and learning about the intricacies of how we read and how we attack questions. Like we said, attacking and trying to hurt the exam so the exam doesn't hurt us. So come get with me. I'm here, and I'm on my website. So find me. I appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. Happy New Year to everybody. We'll pick this back up. We'll continue with the Katt Williams. Let me cross out what I've already talked about. So that way we know where we're starting for next time. And I'll see you guys in a couple days. Bye, guys.